Alright everyone, welcome back to Otaku About It, the podcast where we talk about any and everything in otaku culture. I'm your host, Shelby.
And your co-host, Lawrence.
And to continue the My Hero Academia train, hype from last week, we are going to review the movie that we just came back from.
You sound excited.
I am excited. I thought it was really good.
Yes, it was really good. This is going to be released Friday, right? So this is going to give every one of you guys a chance to watch it first.
Yeah, because it is only in theaters this week.
Yeah. So it's good.
Hopefully you went and saw it and can relate. But just in advance, if you haven't seen it, spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yes. But yeah, what did you think, Lawrence?
What did I think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was really good. To give it a rating.
Actually, okay. What's your good?
My good? Well, good in terms of anime movies, I think.
Okay. Explain that. What is an anime movie? What is your typical anime movie?
Well, to me, anime movies are usually, I talked about it in Anime vs. Manga, but they're usually just standalone, not related.
Side arcs.
Yeah, side arcs where characterization is kind of poor and you never even see these villains or sidekicks that get introduced ever again, which I'm not sure we'll see them again, but like I was telling you earlier, Horikoshi did state that it is connected to the manga.
You found it cool, right?
Yeah.
You were talking about this earlier. I wanted to hear it. I'm sure you guys want to hear it too. I think you make a good point. I agree with the anime movies being side arcs, and that takes away from the whole point of character development, because then it's kind of
it's
everything that you every progress that these characters develop is kind of it doesn't exist in the actual universe.
Yeah.
It makes me a little sad, but I feel like this one doesn't do that. And so you go ahead, Shelby's gonna give us.
So, in an interview with Japan's Toho Cinema Tea magazine, Horikoshi said, quote, "I always wanted to include a chapter about All Might's past, or rather, I thought that I definitely need to write about his past. In the movie, the young All Might is shown studying abroad in America, and I thought this might not be something that could be brought up anymore in the actual manga story up until now, so I saw the movie as a chance to present this. Of course, without a doubt, the movie and manga are adjoined, and the movie is connected to the manga story that happens after it."
Woohoo!
So, it is confirmed connected, which I think...
That's really cool for Horikoshi to do that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the... I'm coming from Dragon Ball movies, where you have Broly, being the legendary Super Saiyan, but then Goku becomes... It's Goku becomes Super Saiyan. I don't know if you're familiar with Dragon Ball.
Not.
But it's kind of
Z, and that was
well, Z is Goku becomes Super Saiyan, but then Broly exists in the movie timeline. He's the legendary Super Saiyan, but they have no reference to that Broly character, at all. And he's super powerful. In the anime, there's no reference to him at all, and it makes me a little upset because I'm Broly is so strong. Why do they not reference him at all? Especially when Dragon Ball is solely based off strength.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me a little upset, but I feel it's really good on Horikoshi's part to make it.
And the fact that he works with the movie and knows of it, because that helps connect it to the story because it's his story,
I think so.
But yeah, I thought it was really cool that they did show a lot of scenes, like I said, from the anime itself. So that helped people who haven't watched the anime kind of get a better grasp, because they went over the backstory a little bit. But I do feel that if you came into it blind, you'd still get you'd fall a little flat, because you wouldn't know the characters' motivations or the depth of their character, because the movie doesn't really portray that, and kind of goes off of the fact that the fans that are watching it are fans and know these characters.
Well, we can't see that, but because we're coming from a perspective of being following the anime and manga, so we have that. But if you guys are listening and you guys are new to fandom and watch the movie first, let us know how that goes.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts if it was
if you could follow being fresh to the fresh
I mean, I think it was easy to follow the plot line. It was very linear in that sense. But as far as connecting to the characters and knowing the depth at which we know them, because we've watched, 3 seasons of them now.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that was a little lackluster, like, especially on, like, the villain side, since it was a completely new villain.
What do you mean?
Like, I think the twist they had with it was, like, awesome. Like, I mean, it was...
There was a twist? No, I'm kidding. Spoiler alert.
Well, we gave that notice already. But there was... Like, we kind of called it that it was going to be the assistant. Because...
Oh.
But the fact that it was... Oh my gosh, what's his name? Shield? What's his first name?
David
Shield.
Dave.
Yes. That it was his, like, he was along with the plan. Like, I thought he was, like...
That I didn't know.
That one took me by surprise. The assistant did not take me by surprise. But, like, that part of it was good, but the actual villain, the,
Magneto?
metal, yeah, Magneto guy, who can control
That's
metal.
hilarious. Everyone was like, Magneto?
Like,
Magneto?
his motivation, basically, was to steal something to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Which is like weak.
Yeah, it's very cliche in that sense. And so, like, I think if they didn't have the twist of having David be in on it and then, like, be able to connect that with Melissa to connect to Deku and, like, I thought David's motivation was really good because, he cared for All Might.
Yeah, the conflict was super good. I was like,
Where you're just like, oh, I understand. Like,
I would probably do the same.
I'd want to save All Might too,
right?
But if, like, he wasn't there and it was just Magneto or whatever his name is, they just called him villain. Like, did you realize he never got a name?
No, they called him Magneto. No, I'm kidding. So what happened to Magneto after he retired from the X-Men?
Yeah. Right.
No, wait, that's actually a really funny thing because this is in America.
That is... No, our island is a floating island.
Oh, okay.
That gets
Alright,
They just met in America.
Okay.
Which was cool because we did get a new Smash. Like California Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Which everyone in the theater was like, hey!
Yeah, if you guys are from California, give some love.
Yeah, we finally got our own Smash.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you take away David's part, like, motivation behind the whole entire dilemma in the movie, Magneto's motivation was, like, very poor.
It's like he's a henchman.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think this is... Like, we were talking about this when we were, like, right out of the movie. Like, the fight and everything was beautifully, like, animated.
Yeah, I mean, Bones doesn't disappoint with their My Hero fights.
I'm sure. But, like you said, like, the reason why they fight was a little weak. Like, not All Might and Deku's the reason, but, like, why the villain got into all this in the first place made it seem kind of silly. Like, you risked your life for this, and now you're just gonna get your butt whooped. Yeah.
That's true. And, like, the fact that he, like, used it on himself when they said that it hasn't been tested yet is, like, a little crazy on his part. But, I mean, like, it made for a very good climactic, like, very beautifully animated fight.
Can I add?
Yeah.
So, this is, like, we've already put a disclaimer out that this is a spoiler, but that scene when Deku jumps up to the helicopter, and then he, like, hits it and then he, like, falls off and then the villain's about to get away. Were you also like, what's gonna happen? Like, I guess there'll be another scene where they have to go off the island, right?
Yeah, I kind of forgot that at that point All Might had escaped, so I was just like, oh dang, they're gonna
get away.
The villain's gonna escape. Also, the fact that Deku fell from a helicopter and landed with such a big impact in the concrete without, like, passing out. But, physics aside, that definitely took me by surprise, and I thought, like, we were, like, maybe at the halfway point. Like, I didn't think the big battle was going to be right there.
Right, and that was really cool. I thought the pacing of that and, like, how the roller coaster kept going was good. Yeah.
Well, I think just the pacing overall in the movie, like you said, was really good. Like, I didn't lose engagement in it at all, really.
Despite the fandom, the crowd in the theater. Yes. Oh.
Yeah, that was the downside of seeing it with,
all the other fanatics.
Yes, there was a lot of talking, which made it hard to hear at some points.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I wished it was subbed, not dubbed, so then I could still read it. But,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but like the pacing of the movie I thought was very well done, and like it had a lot of maybe not character development, but at least engaging sections where I was like, oh, like where they showed, you know, all the little inventions that the people on that island made. I thought was really cool because we haven't really got to see a lot of support items aside from Hatsume Mei and her babies. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool, and I hope Horikoshi brings like some of that back.
That'll be really cool, like to wrap it up.
Kind of bring full circle, especially because the gauntlet that Deku got was pretty impressive, and like I thought a little OP, like overpowered, because, you know, like I said, he could go 100% with it. So if he had 2, then like where's his growth coming from if he can just go all out?
Well, that's the thing. I think like making a break at the end of the movie is like, that is typical of an anime movie, where that item doesn't carry over into the anime. You know, so that in a way I forgive that, because the overall storyline kind of carries over. But like that item, I'm sure like Horikoshi can tie it in and be like, hey, we run into like, you know, what's her name again? Melissa later on, and she's developed a way better product of it. So I can see that happening, which is cool, you know. Or
maybe she'll design Deku's hero suit, kind of like how David did all 4 iterations of All Might's.
All the ages.
I thought that was pretty cool. Like just as like because like All Might doesn't really have much background. But like slowly as the anime and the manga has been progressing, he gets more and more details, which is cool.
You know what my favorite scene was, actually? I'll ask you what's your favorite scene.
My favorite was probably the intro scene with All Might and David. Like,
that's my favorite scene. That is my favorite scene. There's like so much like feel and like I guess perspective in that opening scene, that you get like a full scope of like All Might. Like in a way, you have to remember that it's in America, so like the environment is different too. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, like versus like, you know, you're in Japan, which there's like trains and all that stuff. But this is more like, oh, you're in America, so you see all these cop cars roll up. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I think it definitely gave a good story for All Might, and just I think it was really like real, or like cool to see how they're like, oh, like we're gonna be late for class or like the lecture.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, but we have to go and save this person.
Yeah.
And like, it was just really cool to see All Might in that sort of environment that we haven't seen him before.
Like him in his like early days.
Yeah, when he was still like, you know, full of power and drive and really like gunning to become that symbol of peace.
You know, actually, I really like that scene because primarily because of earlier what I just said with the perspective, but also because it really lived up to what I thought All Might was in his primes. When he was, if you guys remember that first season when he fought the Nomu, and he was like, oh, like if I was in my primes, I could beat you in 5 punches, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, oh, well, you know, you are a badass already in season 1 when you beat Nomu. So like, but in your primes, if you're not just, you know, pulling or, I guess, joking around, I really want to see that. And I feel like in this scene, it delivers that.
Yeah.
Where he's just like,
whips
away the bullets. I'm just like, oh,
missile's gone. Okay.
And he's like, yeah, like, he does that, he saves that, and then he goes on to the next scene. It's just like, it was just really like, it lives up to it. And I'm really like satisfied.
Agreed. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite scene. Which I kind of wish there was more, like, I know it's cliche, but I kind of wish there was more flashbacks to that All Might time.
Like more All Might, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get it, like Deku is the protagonist and like it's focusing on his growth, which I think it did continue that theme in the movie as the same as it does in the anime. But I wish there was more All Might.
hold on. But y'all, if you guys check it out, like if you guys are following the manga, I think there's like more origin stories of All Might, because they haven't gone into like Shimura yet much.
There's a little bit in the manga, but not enough. And it's not All Might focused.
It's Shimura.
It's previous users and like the first user of
All for One.
One for All.
Get them.
Yeah. But speaking of All for One, like I think it was really cool that they connected him in the movie, like I said. And like I think that gave All Might a bigger face to the villain, where he's like oh, this is actually like All for One's doing.
I agree with you on that. I think it makes it, because like we said earlier, the Magneto, air quotes Magneto, his motive was really like weak, made him a henchman. So I think it makes it really cool that All for One was tied in, because then it makes it seem, not even seem, it makes it so that we as the audience realize that this guy is nothing but a henchman.
Yeah.
But then All Might also then takes it more seriously, where it's like everything, there's a bigger meaning to all of this. It's not just this guy wants to sell this.
Yeah.
You know,
that he has to get through this guy to get to All for One.
And I think it's really cool too that Horikoshi made it that All for One stuck to his character, because All for One, we all know, if you guys aren't caught up with the anime, you all know that All
you
for
need
One,
to catch up.
Yeah, All for One makes, what do you call it? He wants to break All Might from like the inside out, because he realizes that he can't beat him like physically, but like internally, with like mentally, he can break him. Like he makes Shigaraki basically a villain.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's really cool because it breaks All Might. But so then which is cool because he sticks to that character. He makes, he wants to aid in making Dave, which is his best friend, and villain too.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really, really cool.
That is a good connection.
I thought that was really, really, really cool, and I was like, oh, I love it. It was really good storytelling.
Such a good villain.
Yeah, right? So it sticks, it makes this whole, like, I was telling Shelby earlier, that it makes this movie seem like a really long and good episode.
Yes, agreed. So like we kind of like covered the big part, which is the, the big ending fight and the villain with All Might. But what do you think of just like the Class 1A interactions?
Okay, so the Class 1A interactions, honestly, in my opinion, there was no character growth in any of them.
No,
because
none at all.
Like this, I gotta credit, since we're talking about character growth. Like this movie was really good because the only character that it kind of like builds on is All for One.
All Might.
All Might? How so?
Well, I mean, it gives him his backstory.
It gives him a backstory, so it gives him more depth. But I don't think it builds onto him.
Yeah,
like it doesn't.
So
tell
I guess
more.
All for One.
Because then it kind of like makes him, like, you learn more about him.
Yeah.
And it, like, your assumption.
His method of doing things.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. So then, because we don't know much about All for One in the anime, so we have something to look forward to. And because of this movie, it comports with that idea. It's like, yeah, like
yeah. Well, I mean, technically, this movie takes place during summer break, which is before the third season. Before
they fight with Muscular.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's before the third season, like this most recent season, I believe. Okay. Which, because that would make sense with the timeline, because All Might hasn't fought One for All yet.
Oh.
All for One.
Yeah.
Dang it! I was doing so good too. Yeah, All for One. So like he still has his
fire.
Yes, his fire to keep his muscular form, which is like his battle throughout the whole movie, basically.
I thought it was really cool too.
What, that he had to keep?
It's kind of for me, I saw it like you're holding a plank when you're like doing workout. Yeah. And it's like, I can't let go. I need to hold this plank for as long as I can. Yeah. I saw the analogy like that.
That's true. But anyway, back to
character 1A.
Class 1A. Yeah.
1A interactions to me was basically just fan service, and
yeah.
it was to me it was the most annoying part in the theater because everyone was going crazy, and Shelby and I were just joking. We're just like, don't you all see them like every weekend?
In every episode? Like, why are you screaming when they show up on the screen? Like
that's my thing too. I'm just like, okay.
Do you do this at home?
But that aside, I think the interactions was very fan based. So like Bakugo being angry, Todoroki, doing his thing, Tenya doing his hand motion. Everyone was just in character. And then they were playing along to what the audience wanted them to do. Like Ochako being awkward and like jelly beans is like
jelly beans,
right? That's what people would expect. So then
Although I thought like Jiro and Momo were like kind of like that too. Like they were being a little salty when they first saw them. Like, what are you doing with this girl?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
That's how I read it.
The audience is too loud. I couldn't that was the part where I couldn't hear what they were saying.
Yeah, that was one of the many parts I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was very, like, I think they were fairly in character. There were moments where I thought, like, Bakugo was a little out of character.
Like the thank you.
Yeah. Well, I felt that was just like fan service for Kiribaku. Like, it was all Kiribaku.
Yeah, it was just all fan service. Everything was just fan service. Yeah.
I mean, it is still entertaining, and so I didn't, like, check out, while I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was, I feel like in an anime movie, there's usually fan service.
Yeah.
Like, regardless. And I feel like, from my experience of anime movies, I feel like that's just like the formula to, for fan service, because, you got fans, you gotta please them. So it has nothing to do with the plot, but you just gotta put in that, like, couple of seconds of fan service,
mm-hmm.
And like then you move on. So to me, because there's so many characters, I felt like it was a little like I got kind of like, oh, like, come on, get over it and let's get to the story. Yeah. That's just my opinion. But what about you?
I mean, I thought they did that, like, I felt that a little bit, but I think they kept it short enough to where it wasn't dragging on for forever, where I was like, come on, like, what does this have to do with anything? Like, with their little villain, like, obstacle course, like, that was kind of cool, because at least I try and think of people who haven't watched the anime and are just like, because, like, a lot of my workers are going and they're like, oh, I'm gonna drag my girlfriend along to see it with me, even though she doesn't watch it. And so I think from, like, their perspective, it at least gives them an idea of what
these characters are.
Yeah, the stereo, or like the...
Like their character, basically.
Yeah, stereotypes that they fall into. So they're like, oh, okay, so this is the angry one, and this is the best friend, and this is, the nice one.
Yeah.
It was fan servicey, which, like, my shipping heart kind of enjoyed a little bit, but I didn't think it took away too much from the movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. It didn't take too much away, except, hold on, analyzing it again, I think the Melissa and Deku, I think that's really cute, but, like, it's kind of like, what happened to Otaku?
Yeah.
Like, she was jealous in the beginning, but then, like, it just kind of, like, she was just kind of forgotten. She became a side babe.
Pretty much.
And then it became like a Deku-Melissa romance.
See, that's what I'm saying, is there's always the one girl who's, like, the romance for the movie, and then she's never thought about again. And then it goes back to,
the canon.
So
I thought that was a little out of character, because I felt like if Ochako was canon girl, then she should have played a bigger part in that. Yeah. Like, love interest. Like, showed, like, some more emotions when she was like, oh, you guys,
Yeah, he could have used it to develop their relationship.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Use it to develop. Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't.
But then it wouldn't be as dramatic when, oh no, it was her father all along.
But I mean, I guess.
I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know either. But, like, yeah. But okay, give it your rating on a scale of 1 through 5, like you said earlier.
Yeah, so if I had to give it a rating, I would say overall, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
I said 1 through 5.
Oh, 1 through 5?
You didn't even listen to me. No, can you go to...
So then, what's that? A 4 out of 5.
I like how you didn't even listen to me. You're like...
I'll cut that. No, I'd say a 4 out of 5. Because I thought it did a really good job of keeping you engaged and, like, bridging the anime fans, like the anime and the movie together, at least having all those overlapping parts. My only, like, downgrade of it is for just the fan service part of it, and the lack of depth in the villain is, like, a big thing for me. But it was only, 2 hours, so, like, you can't really develop a whole new villain and his motive, which is why I thought it was good that they brought in a villain that we're familiar with.
Yeah. You're right. That's right.
Yeah.
I feel like because the way that the anime industry in Japan works is that because, like, the whole story is, like, written in comic format. like manga format first, and then like if it does well, then they get like the opportunity to do a movie like Boku no Hero. So by the time you get the opportunity to do a movie, it's like the story's so developed already.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, I wish I could come back and fill in the gaps, and I can't insert a villain that is like really cool or like really like I guess has a lot of background story or depth at this point, because then like where was he later on?
Yeah,
So
it would just mess with the timeline.
So I don't think it's actually like Hirokoshi's fault, but I think it's the way that the procedure in which anime is written in Japan, that it's almost like going back in time, and you can't just put in a character that was really important, and it's like, well, this character affects everything downstream, so it messes up the timeline. So that's why I agree with Shelby on the henchman like being the villain in the movie, and then they just like kicking his ass.
Yeah.
But like I think it's cool that they tied it in All For One, because All For One is still undefeated, in a sense.
Well, yeah, kind of.
So we still
Up
have
until that point.
yeah, right. We still have yet to see. We still have more to see of him. So I think it's cool to have him in there, because I feel like that gives him more depth for when we actually see him again in the manga. So I think that's something cool as a movie, like as an audience watching the movie, because now you have something to look forward to. Because this is like an experience that you can take, and then you can apply it to your knowledge and like fandom, I guess, in the actual canon universe. Not like every other anime movies that are like, this is really cool, but you know what? Never referenced again, and never like has no important role in the actual.
Yeah, just purely entertainment.
Purely fan service. Purely fan service. And so with that being said, I think, boy, I'm coming from really bad anime movies.
Now that you're like looking back.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball movies are really bad, in my opinion. The fight scenes are so diminutive in there compared to the 4 or 5 episodes where like whole saga fight scenes. But I think I will give it. I'd almost want to give it a 5. Like, that's how good it is. Cause like the soundtrack is all original.
Yeah, the music is amazing.
The music, yeah, it's
sucker for music, as you guys probably know.
It takes it. It feels really native to the anime. The soundtracks, the songs they use are from the anime. So I think that's really cool, because then you, like I said, you don't feel like you're watching something else.
Yeah, it helps bridge the gap.
The animation was beautiful. Tying in a bigger villain that is actually part of the canon arc to the movie, I think that's I can appreciate that a lot. The fan service, it doesn't bother me, because I feel like that is something that, like you said earlier, is for developing the characters, that for a fresh audience.
Yeah.
So I think I would give it, for an anime movie. This is an anime movie. I think I would give it a 5.
Yeah. No, I mean, like my 4 score.
But you've seen more anime movies than I have, though. So. Yeah.
That's true. But it's not to say that the movie isn't good. Like, I would definitely go and see it again, and like.
I'd watch
probably
it again.
a couple times.
Yeah, I'd probably watch it again. It's a good movie.
Because it really is good. I think just as a standalone feature, it wouldn't bring many people into the series, I don't think. Because there's a lot of assumptions that you have to make from watching the anime or reading the manga to like be able to love the characters that are in it. Is my only qualm.
Yeah. However, I feel like most anime movies alone aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
They don't stand alone as a movie.
No. And I think the movies themselves usually aren't tailored to bring in new audience. It's to help please or like hype the audience that's already there.
Hype the audience and milk some more.
Yeah.
More revenue.
More the money.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it all comes down to?
Hey, at the end of the day, we're all a business, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, 10 out of 10.
5 out of 5. You need to go to sleep.
I do.
This is
so
really
tired.
late, by the way.
4 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Definitely recommend.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, it's awesome. If you love My Hero, you'll love the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Check it out. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of it.
Yeah. What were your guys' favorite scenes? Did you like the fan service?
Yeah, and if you guys caught any like extra like details that we didn't catch, like Shelby didn't catch the detail of like All For One, master his motive being manipulating people close to All Might.
Yeah.
So if you guys catch other details from other characters like that,
Please
it'd be pretty
share
cool.
with us.
Yeah.
All right. We will talk again soon.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.